The day my husband brought his work friend to our house and introduced her to me as if I was the guest, that was the day I decided I would never cry in front of him again. I smiled, shook her hand, and even offered her sweet tea. But inside something switched. And what he didn't know was that I had already seen the hotel receipts. Before I tell you how this ended, make sure you subscribe to Reddit Times right now. If you love real stories where karma shows up right on time, you're going to want to stick around. We post stories just like this all the time, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. My name is Lavra. I'm 38, from Texas, and until last year, I thought I had a solid marriage. 15 years together. 2 kids. A nice house in the suburbs. My husband Daniel worked in medical device sales. Good money, lots of travel. I stayed home when the kids were little, then started running a small online boutique from home. Nothing huge, but it was mine. About a year ago, Daniel started acting different. Guarding his phone. Taking late-night conference calls. Suddenly caring about the gym and buying new cologne. You know that feeling when your stomach drops but you can't prove anything? That was me. One night he left his laptop open on the kitchen counter while he showered. I wasn't snooping at first. I was just closing tabs. But then I saw an email confirmation for a hotel in Miami. The dates didn't match any work trip he told me about. And there he was. 2 guests. 1 king bed. My hands were shaking. I clicked deeper. More receipts. Fancy dinners. Spa charges. And then I found messages. Not explicit but intimate enough. Can't wait to see you again. Last weekend was perfect. Her name was Megan. I could have screamed. I could have thrown his laptop at the wall. But instead, I closed it and went to bed. And that night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him until I understood everything. Over the next month, I quietly paid attention. I checked credit card statements. I looked at our shared bank account. And that's when the second betrayal hit me. He wasn't just cheating. He was spending our money. Thousands of dollars. Hotels, gifts, flights. Here's what Daniel didn't realize. While he was busy playing secret boyfriend, I had slowly grown my boutique into something profitable. I had my own separate business account. And I had been handling most of our household finances for years. I knew exactly where everything was. One afternoon, he came home and casually mentioned that he might need to move some money around for tax purposes. That's when I knew he was feeling pressure. Maybe the credit card balances were getting high. Maybe Megan liked expensive wine. A week later, he brought her to our house. Said she was a colleague in town for meetings. I watched them laugh at the kitchen island. I watched him touch her back like he forgot I was standing there, and I smiled. Because by then, I already had a plan. I met with a lawyer the very next morning. Quietly, calmly. I brought copies of bank statements, hotel receipts, and screenshots. The lawyer looked at me and said, "You've done your homework. In Texas, community property laws matter. And using marital funds for an affair? That matters too." For the next 2 months, I played the part. I cooked dinner. I asked about his day. I even pretended not to notice when he packed extra dress shirts for trips. Meanwhile, I moved strategically. I separated my business finances completely. I opened a new personal account in my name only. I redirected my boutique income there, all legally. All clean. Then I did something he never expected. I got proof of his lies directly from Megan. I created a fake social media profile. Nothing crazy, just believable. I messaged her casually, pretending to be someone who met Daniel at a conference. I mentioned being surprised he was married. She responded almost instantly. "Separated," she wrote. "He's basically divorced. Just waiting on paperwork." I stared at that message for a long time. Separated? We had slept in the same bed the night before. I saved everything. Then I invited Daniel to sit down one Sunday afternoon after the kids went to my sister's house. I placed a folder on the table. Inside were copies of every receipt, every message, every bank transfer. And on top, the printed screenshot of Megan calling him basically divorced. He went pale. At first, he tried to deny it. Then he tried to blame Stress. Then he tried to blame me. Said I was distant. Said I cared more about my business. It was almost impressive how predictable he was. I let him talk. When he finally stopped, I calmly explained that I had already filed for divorce. He had been served electronically that morning. I told him I had documentation of marital funds used for his affair. I told him my lawyer was confident the court would consider that an asset division. For the first time in 15 years, Daniel looked scared. But here's where the real revenge came in. Remember how he loved appearances? How he cared about his reputation in his company? Medical sales is a small world. Affairs happen, sure, but messy financial misconduct tied to divorce proceedings? That's different. During negotiations, my lawyer made it clear that if this went to court, all financial records would become part of the public file, including expense reports, including dates that overlapped with company reimbursements. Suddenly, Daniel was very motivated to settle. In the end, I kept the house. I received a fair share of his retirement account. He agreed to pay back a significant portion of the money spent on the affair. And I got primary custody of the kids. Megan? She didn't stay long after she realized he wasn't basically divorced. Funny how that works. The day he moved out, he tried one last time. We could fix this, he said. For the kids. I looked at him and felt nothing. No anger, no heartbreak, just clarity. You should have thought about that before Miami, I said. If you're still watching, I want to ask you something. What would you have done in my place? Would you have confronted him right away, or would you have planned like I did? Tell me in the comments. I read them all, and I love hearing your thoughts. And if you're enjoying this story so far, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow and lets us keep sharing real stories like mine. It's been a year now. My boutique has doubled in sales. I hired 2 other moms part-time. My house feels peaceful. The kids are happier than I expected. And me? I sleep better. Daniel still texts sometimes. Mostly about the kids. Sometimes late at night, saying he messed up. But here's the truth. My revenge wasn't destroying him. It was protecting myself and making sure he faced the consequences of his choices. I didn't scream. I didn't post about him online. I didn't key his car or slash his tires. I built a case. I used the law. And I walked away with dignity and security. That's the kind of revenge that lasts. So if you're sitting there right now with that gut feeling that something isn't right in your relationship, trust yourself. Gather facts. Stay calm. And remember, being quiet doesn't mean being weak. Sometimes it means you're preparing. Make sure you're subscribed to Reddit Times for more real stories like this. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You never know who's smiling on the outside while planning their comeback on the inside. Thanks for listening to my story. I'll see you in the next one.